Hey, welcome back to another episode of Around Comics. I'm Brian Salazar. With me is Sleepy Gene and clever name Tom. You guys
too tired for a clever name.
Sleepy Gene's left over from Sunday, Sal.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did the WandaVision episode 3. So Sleepy Gene. That's right. Great song.
Yeah, and has been caught in my fucking head for the last 4 days.
That's
Can't
okay.
Get rid of it. Out snow plowing today. Wake up, Sleepy Gene.
Hey, they were catchy. They knew how to write.
Yeah. Yes, they did. That Davy Jones. Yep.
I just keep singing WandaVision. WandaVision. I can't get that song out of my head. So
Sal or Tom, you need to join us for one of the WandaVision after hours shows.
We'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, they're fun.
We'll get a show that Tom likes, maybe.
One that I can stay awake through.
So like the Magnum PI rerun show.
Again, nothing disparaging about WandaVision. I'm just a tired dad at this point. So like if it's
we're squeezing the little bit of juice that is left.
Yeah, it's like nothing against WandaVision. Sure, it's a great show. When I tried to watch it, I accidentally laid down, and that was just like,
you're done.
Not yeah.
This is my problem. Like, I can't get through a novel because I read 4 pages and to pass out, and it's like it takes me 8 months to read a 300 book.
Yeah, and it's nothing against the book. It's just like a losing bat. It's just like a losing.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna fall asleep.
It got to the point that I think I trained my brain that when I start to read, that means it's time to go night-night.
Well, hopefully we are able to read some comics this week. I know I read a couple.
I did.
Well, why don't you start us off, Chris? What did you read? First of all, what is you wearing?
I'm going to start us off with something that we all, I think, read, and we had a Patreon exclusive interview with one of our good old buddies. I'm holding up for the camera. This is the cover that I got of Iron Fist: Heart of the Dragon.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What did we all pick this up as we should have?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you guys think of it? I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. Iron Fist story, really fun, and I thought that Dave absolutely crushed it.
I very much enjoyed it. It's interesting when you have someone like Larry Hama, who has been writing comics for a long time.
Yes.
But, he comes from a different school of comic book writing than like the guys that write comics today, the much younger writers. So it's always sort of interesting and it's fun for me because I'm very much used to sort of that sort of comic book. And there was
the kind of comic book that we used to read when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's just like it's interesting because like you look at this book and not that I want every book to be like this book.
No, but God, isn't it a nice just splash of cold water in your face,
It's just a fun adventure comic with kung fu and zombie ninjas and just magic, and it's just like it really brought me back to why I love Iron Fist, and I always have. I've always loved that character. Power Man and Iron Fist was one of the first comics that I really, started collecting. That and Daredevil and anything with ninjas, really. It was right up my alley. But I love Iron Fist. I've always loved Iron Fist, and this really, I really liked all the stuff that Fraction did with Iron Fist.
Fraction Brubaker, yeah.
I loved how they expanded sort of the Iron Fist lore and the legend of Iron Fist and the multiple Iron Fists and everything. I thought was really cool. So don't get me wrong there, but it's just like, you take this and then you like compare it to something, I think that we read this week too, which was like Rorschach, and it's just such a different style of comic book writing,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's nice to just be like, oh, this is just a fun adventure book that I can kind of enjoy, and I thought Dave did a great job with it. I think it's some of Dave's best work.
It's absolutely crushed.
There's this page I want to I like this. I love this page of him just beating the shit out of these kung fu zombies, or ninja zombies. Is it ninja zombie or zombie ninja?
I think it would be a zombie ninja.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I thought he killed it. I loved it. I want to read more. So
big. And this is the plug for the Patreon. Folks, we did an interview. You can get about 10 minutes of it on the regular feed, but then we kind of went into more in depth into his evolution as an artist, which we've talked about for years. That Dave, we've always marveled that he just kind of continues to level up and get better and better and better every year that we see his work. And one of the big leaps for him is that for almost all of the Iron Fist work, he's 100% digital now. So he's working on the iPad Pro. And he said it was actually it was good for his home life because he was able to be out and sit on the couch while he and his wife watch TV and work. But he's doing almost all of his stuff digitally now. And he said it's just faster, and he's gotten into really experimenting with a lot of different brushes and different techniques that traditional brush and board. He had kind of exhausted a lot of the stuff that I think that he had done there, and has really enjoyed working digitally.
The iPad Pro is just an amazing device for art. It's like you can just take it anywhere, and there's programs like Procreate, which is cheap. I don't even know if Procreate costs anything. It might be free, but you can get all sorts of brushes, all sorts of different styles of brushes and pencils and things that you can do with it that like I don't know how to watercolor at all, but I can have a watercolor brush and start playing around with it and get an effect without like having to sit there and try and use a canvas or watercolor paper and make a mess. And I can just play, and I can just learn how to kind of do it. But I was gonna say, and I don't want to cut Tom off because I want to know what Tom has to say about the book. But I wonder, have you guys seen? There's a company that makes, it's called a Sketchpad Pro, and it's basically it's a plastic easel that you pop your iPad Pro into, so you have like a actual drawing board that your iPad goes into. And I know a few guys in the industry have them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, pretty cool. But it really is just an amazing device for drawing. The iPencil, and it even makes me look like I kind of know how to draw. So what did you think about it, Tom?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I think you guys hit a lot of the things. I mean, the art in it is, it's awesome. It's, it is like it's a little bit of a throwback, like all the scenes of Luke Cage babysitting and it's such a classic comic book,
Luke Cage, babysitting not just the girl but also the baby dragon.
Yeah, like it's just sort of a classic comic book approach, to telling a story. It's just really fun, and the art looks great. And yeah, I mean, Iron Fist is cool, I think it's nice to, at times I think I liked what Fraction and Brubaker did. I think sometimes it has led to perhaps spending maybe too much time trying to make Iron Fist's history incredibly full of depth. Sometimes I think you can get a little lost and that stuff, and you should just get back to him fighting zombie ninjas and like keep it on the lighter side as far as the history. So yeah, I mean, it was cool.
There's always kind of that attempt to make him Marvel's, kung fu Batman. He's the rich industrialist.
Yeah.
With the weird martial arts history, and
it doesn't always totally work, but like the character, first of all, he looks cool.
Yes.
So like that's like 90% of it there is that he looks cool. And the origin story, Fraction and Brubaker did some fun stuff with the origin story. But, to me, it's just like, get back to Iron Fist, like, cutting heads off zombies. And, like, he looks fucking rad. And that's, like, most of the job right there.
Yeah, punch through walls.
Yeah.
I wonder if, any of it is sort of, like, also trying to deal with, problematic white savior origin has that, that same sort of thing. That
you mean it's a 1970s Marvel character?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, you could see that. I think sometimes. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, right? Like this rich white guy is a fucking kung fu master. It's kind of it's goofy, like it is like a throwback to a different time. For better or worse, right? Like it's, it is a remnant of a certain time,
right?
In comics history. So yeah, I mean, I think sometimes maybe get a little hung up trying to make more sense or seem less weird. And I think you just got to roll with it. It is what it is.
Right.
That's what Iron Fist is.
I really liked Taskmaster in it too. I always
yeah. I mean, it says I never expect Taskmaster, and then when he shows up, I'm like,
it's like the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's Taskmaster. Oh, okay.
No one ever expects Taskmaster.
Yeah.
He's actually got his own book now. I read the first issue of it. It was,
oh, really?
Yeah, and they're trying to like make him kind of more of an anti-hero.
He's the new Punisher.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. He does have a skull face, so it just
yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, Taskmaster was cool. But yeah, it was. I really dug it. I like what Dave did. Also, I don't know if I've seen it before. The how he incorporated the costume dragon on his chest with the tattoo. Well, I guess it's a scar technically or whatever, but the actual dragon on his chest.
I don't call it a badge of honor.
Yeah, well, I suppose. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do it quite like Dave did it, where it was incorporated together. I thought it was pretty. I mean, it was simple, but it was effective.
Simple but cool.
They once again harkening back. Oh no, that is cool. Yeah, I think that's a boop, 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 boop. Like right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It looks like
they worked Marvel style on this, by the way, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, that's right. I did listen to that interview you did on patreon.com/aroundcomics.
So I always I don't know. It's neat to be able to tell the difference, but I asked Dave if he liked working in Marvel style, and he adored it. He thought it was just awesome, and a lot of that had to do with how easy to work with Larry Hama was. Which I think he said that most of Hama's comments were, "That looks awesome."
Yeah, I'd imagine at this point Larry's not gonna, overthink things. Yeah, that's good. That's good, kid. Good job. Yeah.
Looks good.
If you have the chance, watch. I think we may have talked about the Toys That Made Us at some point the last few months. If you have the chance, watch on Netflix The Toys That Made Us and watch the G.I. Joe episode. And they have a really nice segment with Larry Hama on there about his involvement on the comic side and writing G.I. Joe comics and how he liked and didn't like the cartoon and that kind of stuff. But some really nice Larry Hama moments in that series.
There's nothing like a Larry Hama moment.
Yeah, it's like a warm bath.
I showed this. Sean Burris said Carrie Andrews' limited run was very cool. Yes, it was. It was very cool. That's Carrie. I love Carrie Andrews' art, and he doesn't do enough comic book stuff, I don't think. But that was a cool series, limited series. Cool. What else? What else did anybody? Tom, you read anything else?
Oh, just some Rorschach.
Some Rorschach.
I was catching up on Adam Strange as well. So I was getting my Tom King fix going on.
That's the one Tom King book I didn't read this week. I read Batman, Catwoman, and Rorschach, and I got Vision in the mail. I'm just like Tom King all over the place, and that's the one book that I love that I didn't read.
But I read Rorschach, caught up on that.
So Rorschach 4, right? That was the fourth issue. What did you think of that?
It was, I mean, I liked it. I mean, it's kind of, the Rorschach series is kind of a downer.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, it's hard to like be like, hell yeah. It's, obviously, it's an issue about
book.
It's not a happy book. So it's hard to get like super fucking pumped about it. I mean, the art is awesome in it, as it's been every time so far. And sort of, like a lot of Tom King stuff, right? It's like it's a lot about violence and what violence, means, and what it does to people, or like what, like the true cost of, of violence, and like, that being, if you choose that as your solution to things, like what does that mean? Where does that lead you? Like I thought it was kind of interesting. It's interesting because the plot point of the story is like, I feel like something that is incredibly timely to our times, of like someone who's very deluded and like very like certain that they know something's true, and it's like not true. Or I mean, it's a comic book, so maybe it is true, but someone who really believes something as being like the truth, and then following through on it to sort of disastrous, violent ends, because the delusion gives them purpose in what could be like a purposeless life. Yeah. So when I say it's a downer, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
I think it's a really interesting look, and this kind of built up in issue 3. I think that you take Alan Moore's look at it, and the whole plot device that there needed to be a threat bigger than the U.S. and the USSR to unite people to avert nuclear destruction, right? That was the Ozymandias plan, right? Is to drop the squid in New York, and people would unite and not and halt a nuclear destruction. And this is okay. Now it's 20 years past, and what is the amount of fucking crazy in the world that has created? And the scary part is that it's not that much different than the crazy that exists in a world that didn't happen in, right?
I mean, I think like it's interesting to use the character Rorschach as it, right? Because we've seen now multiple people have become Rorschach to, because whatever, wearing that mask gives them the ability to do something that they think is important or purposeful, or whether it's vengeance or vengeance in both cases, but just that idea of like what that character is, and I think it's interesting too, right? There's always the classic. I think we've talked about this too, like people who prefer to see Rorschach as like a hero or as like a like
an inspiration,
or like they don't quite get necessarily, or they choose to ignore that portion of it, that Rorschach's kind of like, he's like an insane person. He's
kind of
someone whose viewpoint is so extreme that like he can't operate in reality, and like he's deluded himself, like to see like that sort of play out too, in the comic as people take on the persona to their own ends, in the same sort
Rorschach isn't a character. Rorschach is an idea.
Yeah. And it's like, so it's interesting in that sense, but a downer, maybe if you've had a rough week. Save it. Yeah. It's like, save it till next week.
I think that it is like interesting with Rorschach because initially he's a scary individual in the book, and not in this book, but in Watchmen. And there is some there's some qualities in Rorschach that I can see being something that people might aspire to. Not being the shit, like killing people or anything like that, but his sort of sense of absolute justice, and his like determination that he will not falter, he will not back down, he will not, but in Alan Moore's style, it's like, okay, but what is that kind of person really like if he really existed? Because you look at like,
and don't forget Steve Ditko. Because it is, it's a lot of Ditkoism in that.
Well, but it's Alan Moore saying, what would Mr. A be? He would be a fucking lunatic.
It gets really fucking meta, doesn't it? Yeah.
But like, how far is Rorschach away from like, or here? Well, this is a perfect. Sean Burris has this perfect comment. He says he's the scary representation of truth or justice, and he's the scary representation of like, there's that thing that like Captain America quote of like, you don't back down, or like you don't tell the world. I can't think of the quote, but it's something
like you don't move, you like stand your
ground, and it's like, well, how which is stand your ground is
can be terrifying.
Yeah,
it's a terrifying point of view of like,
how far is Captain America in that sense? That sort of idealist mentality of like, I'm going to change the world by not changing. I will not let the world change me. And in one sense, like when Captain America says it, it's okay. But when Rorschach lives it,
it's like, fucking frightening.
It's very frightening. So yeah, it's an interesting, but the thing that I found interesting was like, Alan Moore didn't, he gave you Rorschach in little bites, and then he revealed at the end, this is a lunatic. You know what I mean? Like, yes. He like gave you enough to go, oh, this is an interesting character, or hey, he's kind of cool, he's got a cool mask, and even like when he's in prison and like he's clever and he is able to protect himself and get out, and
I'm not locked up in here with you, you're locked up in here with me.
I can see where especially young men would look at that and go, oh, that's and that's cool, that's badass, that's that's kind of thing. But it's that, okay, but then you have to read the rest of it. Like you got to finish the book. You got
So I mean, I think it is interesting in what we, in the series to see these different characters of. I mean, in its own sense, it's about like taking on a persona. Like both the Rorschach and his sidekick, or the other way around, really. Sidekick and hero of like people, sort of desperate people who take on these personas that give them a strength, but it's like not always the good strength. It's it feeds into like a sort of a diluted viewpoint.
Yeah, it is strangely like the idea of how many Rorschachs might be out there.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't, you don't want to, focus on the radicalization of people around an idea, but it's a very real concept. And I think that Tom is aware of that. He lived it. He understands it. I think it comes into his comics that it's the very easy radicalization around a cause that is absolutely fucking frightening in the world. And we see through the Alan Moore spyglass, of Watchmen, how that is kind of reflected back on us. And that's, it's what makes it engaging and interesting and all that stuff. But at the same time, something whenever I go to bed and I'm reading this comic, it scares the shit out of me.
Well, I mean, it's a book about all these people that essentially believe in the danger of people who believe in an alternate world, that they live, like that Dr. Manhattan hid all the heroes, or the squids are controlling everyone, or
or the Democrats are satanic.
Fair to them,
pedophiles that it's.
I mean, the squids existed. There was
and they've been manipulated and lied to, and the truth has been hidden. That you know what I mean. So that's the problem too. Is like, the people that are supposed to be in charge aren't helping the situation. They're, you know what I mean. They're just looking out for themselves, and in doing so, they're supplying the fuel to this fire
for political gain.
For political gain, and but I think it's, I mean, it's easy to kind of look at current events and just go with the idea of like, oh, well, this represents, the radical right and the but I mean, you have the same on the other side too, the radicalized. It's just radicalization. It's just radical. Uh-oh, Chris fell.
Camera down. Camera down.
Well, it's a light read.
It's a real light, enjoyable.
It's a light, simple read.
Well, that's what I mean. Like between this and like Iron Fist, it's just like these are different kind of comics. Like they. You got to kind of pick and choose. Another well, I think is that kind of everything we had to say.
I think so. Rorschach? Yeah. God knows I've talked enough about Rorschach in my life. The last.
You got
it's a challenging comic. That's the thing. I love Tom and his comics, and
someday we'll have a long
comic shop like Tom King and like Jeff Lemire comics. I'm just like.
We'll have a long conversation about Strange Adventures at some point. Because I
need to get caught up on a couple issues behind, because one of the things I love about Tom is that he challenges you, and it takes me a few read-throughs on stuff to be like, okay, what is Tom getting at here?
I usually get it on the first one, but
well, you're smarter than me, Tom.
What is this?
Well, Toms all think alike.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, a comic that I read that was not a heavy read and was more of a throwback to Days of Future Past Was Maestro War and Pax #1. This is written by Peter David, Javier Peña. This is the future state Hulk, post-apocalyptic Marvel universe where basically everyone lives in a desert and the Hulk.
Is it Bruce Banner?
Yes, it is Bruce Banner.
Okay.
He calls himself the Maestro now, but it's more. This Hulk is more like he's very intelligent, but he's always the Hulk, and he doesn't fuck around at all. Like he just basically, he's the strongest one there is, and he just goes around, and if you don't want to follow his rules, he's gonna murder you. And
is this old man Wolverine but the Hulk?
A little bit. It's a little bit of that. This story, it's a lot. It's a lot of Hulk just being a really badass and just like not taking no for an answer because he doesn't have to. It's a little weird because he's not heroic. He thinks he's right. Like he believes, like everyone should follow him. That's the only way we're going to have sort of a society again and peace. And
all bad guys think that they're the good guy.
Yeah, he's not. I don't think he's necessarily the good guy in this book. I don't know who is.
Even Taskmaster?
Even
nobody.
I think Taskmaster knows he's a bad. I think he knows he's a bad guy.
I think but he's more of a mercenary. So
he's got a skull. He looks like a skull. It's hard to be like I'm also a good guy.
I'm a good guy. Trust me.
Trust me on this.
I'm really doing well. I think good guys all sort of have their own morality, but there's also it's like bad guys have their own morality. They think that, like Chris said, what they're doing is the right thing. I think Taskmaster has his own morality in that sense too. Like he doesn't think he's evil. I don't think.
Yeah,
but maybe
Lex Luthor is trying to save the world from Superman.
In this though, I don't know who the good guy at one point is Machine Man, which I love.
Awesome.
Yeah, Machine Man's in it, and he tries to stand up to the Hulk. Doesn't go so well for Machine Man. Just telling you.
If he had been drawn by Barry Windsor Smith, it would have been different.
maybe. He gives a good fight, but ultimately, Hulk is just too strong, and we may end up with actually unlikely hero in Doctor Doom. So I don't know. But it was a
unlikely hero, the oldest villain in the Marvel universe.
So this one's kind of throwing things, sideways in the future, but pretty fun. I mean, like I said, a light, old school kind of comic book. Nothing. But it is interesting to sort of, when you take the Hulk and you just throw away any attempt to make him heroic, and he's just wailing his way through fucking anyone that gets in, and he has these giant like robot dogs and an entire army behind him, but he likes getting his hands dirty too, so he just jumps into
Was it fun?
It was fun. It is fun in a sense to watch the Hulk just be the Hulk, and he's just like, I'm the biggest and baddest, and fuck everyone, and you're gonna do what I say, or I'm gonna smash, and that's all this is, really. That's something, it's like, get rid of any pretense that the Hulk, is trying to be good. There's no battle anymore between like Bruce Banner and the Hulk identity, where like there's no weak Banner trying to stop the Hulk from. No, this is just I'm gonna smash everything in my way until you do what I say. So it is fun in that sense. It is kind of an but it was interesting to sort of like have that kind of throwback of an issue and just see the Hulk in that way again. But it's fun nonetheless.
Did you guys have you guys read any of the the future state DC?
A little bit, yeah.
I haven't.
Hit or miss with me so far.
They all, yeah. It only brought it up because you said future state of Hulk.
Yeah,
and talking about
it's
this,
a little New 52 to me. Can you explain future state to me?
No,
it's in the future with no tie to continuity.
it's
Okay.
a bunch of new number ones. That's all I can tell you. It's a bunch of new number one.
Yeah,
I understand now.
yeah.
Kind of the near future though, right? Like they're not like
Kind of, I guess. The Wonder Woman one, I think, is in the far future.
Oh, well, maybe they're all different.
I don't know. I mostly thought they were bummers. Yeah.
I heard the Superman. There was like a Superman War something or another that people said were really good.
Oh. Maybe I picked up the wrong ones. The Flash one was a bummer.
Was it?
Yeah, it's just when
it's Tom
like
doesn't like the Flash. The world isn't right.
It's just like I just always hate it when it's like, hey guys, we're gonna do this thing and it's freed from any ties to continuity, and the first thing we can think of is to kill a bunch of characters. It's just like,
yeah, we got edgy.
I don't know. I was like, I don't need this. Like.
I like the future state Dark Detective. I think that was the one. It was Batman, and it was like what I liked about it is Bruce Wayne was, he didn't have any money, he didn't have a bat cave, he didn't have really any resources, and he was being hunted. And it felt kind of Blade Runner-ish to some degree. So I kind of like that because it was just like, oh, okay, there's a different, take on Batman. But yeah, I did like that a little bit. But yeah, I think they've been kind of hit or miss.
We're kind of like, yeah. Like, all right, I guess. I mean, I guess I would think that you'd want to be a little bolder. If you're gonna be tied to anything, swing for the fences. But
as we saw, the good news is, Tom, is as I saw in the last page, I think, of Batman Catwoman, which is a NC-17 black label DC comic book.
Really?
Damn.
The last page though is an ad for the Punky Brewster, not Punky, what's her name, Mila Bialek from
Soleil Moon Frye.
Yeah, I don't know. No, not Soleil Moon. No. It's Maya.
You said Punky Brewster.
Yeah. Her TV show, the one where.
Yeah, what was her TV show? I can't think of not Punky Brewster.
Like Tall Kate or something.
Well, she was in not Freaks and Geeks.
Big Bang Theory. Big Bang.
But that's not what she's originally famous for. She was
right. But anyway, they're doing like a Flash Facts kids graphic novel. So,
I did see. Yeah, I saw something for that. Yeah.
But I was like, so why is that? Why are they putting this ad in this NC-17 black label Batwoman Batman Catwoman book, and then a flashbacks graphic novel ad? I'm like, what the fuck?
They got ad space that they didn't sell. So
yeah,
fill that space.
You got to fill it with something, baby. Put that in there. No kids should be reading this. Okay.
I mean, I guess maybe their parents are reading it.
Yeah.
It just felt weird. Like I went from like this page where someone's bleeding on the ground from a slashed throat, and the next page was like, "Hey, I'm Punky Brewster," whatever the fuck her name.
Flashbacks.
I'm Punky Brewster.
Mayim, what's her name? Mayim Bialik or Bialik?
I mean, she's
She was from
just Blossom.
There we go.
Oh, was she Blossom?
She was Blossom. Yeah.
No, I didn't. Okay. Yeah.
That wasn't that far off with Punky Brewster. It was
the blind spot. What do you think of the Batman Catwoman series? 2 issues in.
I like the story in the future with Catwoman and Old Man Joker.
Yeah.
The regular story that they keep flashing back to, I can't follow.
I'm a little lost, and it's because I'm a little dim which everyone knows.
Only Tom understand Tom.
Yeah. I have to read it twice, where Tom has to only read it once.
The artwork is gorgeous.
Oh, it's beautiful comic.
Clay Mann is a phenomenal illustrator.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I like it, but I'm a little lost too. Like, I'm not quite sure. It flashes around so much. Like, it goes from one time to a different, back and forth, and
that's my only criticism with the artwork, is that I think it can be, flashbacks can be handled differently artwork wise, and I don't think that there's enough difference between the time periods in the art.
Yeah, I mean, look at like Strange Adventures, like the art difference. It's like immediately apparent which story.
Make it easy for the reader. Visually communicate to the audience that you are shifting time zones, and it's not always clear in this book, and that makes it a little disorienting.
I would agree with that. I 100%. I just don't quite understand what it's just making me work too hard.
Always pretty, always really well rendered. Not always the best visual storytelling.
It's and I just think it's difficult because he's trying to tell this story in the future of Catwoman and the Joker, and then I guess the gist of it is like whatever's happening in present day is why she is now, spoilers, she has tracked down the Joker, who's living in a retirement home and is very old and feeble. Not feeble, but he's very, very old. He's probably 80s. They're both very old, and she's tracked him down to murder him.
But only after Bruce died.
After Bruce has died, and he even like made her promise not to do this. He was apparently always, she's wanted to kill him, the Joker, for all these years, and Batman was the reason she didn't. But now she's like, fuck it, he's fucking dead, so I'm gonna go murder this dude. And then so that's what she goes and does. But I don't understand the story that he's trying to tell in the present, because there's like this new villain, the Angel of Death, and then there's this whole storyline with the Joker, and Joker's henchmen are getting killed, and then there's this necklace, and there's just so many sort of like things going on that I just don't, I'm not sure what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, it's a Tom King story.
It's the Tom King hour.
It'll all come together.
J Hood Creative says Tom King is like a Godfather film. He insists upon himself. I'm not sure I understand that. J Hood, I'm not. I don't know what that means, but yeah, I want to like it, but
Tom is always going to challenge you, and it doesn't always work the best in single issues.
Yeah, I don't mind being challenged. It's not a matter like challenge me with your ideas, not with your storytelling.
And I think it's more on the I don't want to sound like a Tom apologist. I think the storytelling breakdown is more on the art side than the writing side, because I
stop apologizing.
I think that the art, as beautiful as it is, could be a little bit more clear.
Don't blame the refs.
Yeah, but I mean,
differentiating the time periods.
To play devil's advocate, though, he has a script to work with, and if it says, "Hey, now," you know what I mean, like, write a fucking clear story, Tom King. God damn it! Why you gotta give
the refs, Chris?
Fucking change the color palette. I don't fucking care. Do something to differentiate between the time periods.
Well, see, I don't have a problem knowing which time period is which time. I don't think that's the problem with the storytelling, though. Like, I think it's not like I don't know when she's talking to the old Joker. It's just I don't know why this story's being told. I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I can tell, I can differentiate between the past and the present. It's just,
and to be fair, it's only 2 issues in.
Yeah. I like it. I really like the idea, although there is something about like, you know, I kind of get annoyed whenever anyone sort of is like, I'm going to tell this future story of this iconic character and their death. I mean, I guess it's, it is comics, so it doesn't really mean anything, but there is that weird sort of almost
the death of the Joker.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, come on, you're not.
It's issue 2, so he's not dead.
All right, fine.
How many Jokers does Tom King have in his story?
So far, just 2.
So, just 2.
Jeff Jones had 3.
Right?
When's the third Joker going to show up?
Eventually.
Third Joker.
Every Joker book has to have 3 Jokers.
Yeah, the comedian, the chef,
the banker,
the accountant. Everyone is a combination of 3 Jokers.
Every person on the planet.
Yeah, every person on the planet has 3 Jokers inside of them.
This is true. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right though. I think Tom's stuff does work better sometimes in when you can read it all at once.
Collected.
But I love Tom. I love
Tom.
I'm one of the
baby in the mail this week.
There you go. Vision.
Very excited. It's like half back matter.
Have you read? Are you reading Barbalian?
Yeah.
Because it's weird because I read that and it's the same artist that on the Vision, Gabriel Walta, right?
Walta, yes.
And it's like this is kind of like a Vision story. I have a hard time sort of. Seems like, and it's just Martian Manhunter's story too, so it's a little weird to like because it's
so like Rorschach. Whenever you get into a character that is obviously a derivative of another one, and you start telling those stories, it's a
little odd. Did you? So, was there something else you read, Chris? Did you have something else? You read something else? I don't know. No.
It's a lot of Tom King comics. You had some news that you had sent us. That we got about 10 minutes left here. That maybe we can touch on.
I need my. Hold on, I got a news theme.
It sounds
hot news,
official and shit.
I don't know. I just what did I sent you guys some stuff I saw. One of the interesting things I saw was Bendis is no longer exclusive at DC Comics.
Oh my god.
I thought that was interesting.
His contract ran out. Oh no.
Well, not even that. Like I think they renegotiated with him or something. Like he's and it's just so I guess he can write for anyone now, but interesting that how long Bendis has not been a exclusive writer for either Marvel or DC for forever. That's kind of interesting. I'll see. Is this sort of
honestly, it's probably the first time in 12 or 15 years that he hasn't been exclusive.
Yeah. Is this sort of a signal that this is sort of the every comic book writer, every comic book artist at some point usually, there's a point where it's just like you're not popular anymore. You're just not selling books and your career is just moved on. Is this mark that sort of point for Bendis, like one of the biggest writers in comics now? I don't know how Superman was selling or any of this Legion or any of the stuff that he's doing for DC. Or is this just a sign that DC is, kind of just cutting back on comic book stuff. That Warner Brothers.
I feel like exclusive contracts are like a thing of the past.
Is that maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I mean, it's like, I guess it's hard for me to believe that I guess like if you're like strictly like a numbers bean counting person, that these exclusive contracts really like
makes sense.
May give you the, you know, strictly from like a dollars and cents, you know, like avenue, if it makes sense. I mean, certainly like IP wise, but like a lot of these dudes, they're not, rightfully so, aren't giving you a bunch of original shit that you're like going to like make your next DC movie out of, you know, like
how many characters does Bendis, you know, create at Marvel?
I mean, he has made some.
There are a few, but not many.
You know, but you know, it's not like, you know, I guess I think it's just inevitable that like the exclusive stuff's just going to kind of fade away.
Yeah.
As like the comic books take a backseat to all other.
Well, then we like the three of us all have witnessed that change in the industry where, you know, comic book creators worked for a company and made IPs and made characters, and then we started to see, you know, these guys get very popular by working on Batman or Spider-Man or whatever book and saving their good ideas for their creator-owned work.
They should have.
As they should, yeah, absolutely. And not giving it to these companies. And I think that's part of it too. It's like, well, you know, why are we, you know, it's like at one point, oh, we're going to lock up someone like Bendis so he doesn't, you know, write for, you know, create some sort of IP. And he did. I mean, he created Miles Morales.
Yeah, that's an excellent example that I didn't think of. Yeah.
Yeah. And Miles
Morales. Yeah.
Miles Morales. Yeah. Yeah. Probably but Miles Morales is still Spider-Man. Who was it's a different character, but it's still Spider-Man. Who was the last creator that really unloaded a backed up the truck and unloaded characters for Marvel or DC? Bemoan him all you want, Liefeld.
Yeah, he made a lot of money for both, I think, companies. You know, making characters.
Cable, Deadpool, Domino, you know, Shatterstar. Not all of them were great characters, but I mean, it's the last guy that probably unloaded a ton of characters that, you know, 20, 25, 30 years later are still, you know, really viable characters.
Yeah, I think I just think Tom's right that it's a part of the changing industry where it's like, well, we're not going to get, you know, guys like you know, even Fraction and Brubaker and now you got, you know, like Donnie Cates and Scotty or whoever, you know, it's like they're not necessarily going to use their A material. As far as like, I'm not going to give you a character. If I have a great idea for a character, I'm not going to give that.
Is Rick Remender going to bring Deadly Class to Marvel?
Right. You know, why do it? They can just, you know, I think you know, it's this thing of like,
is Marvel ever going to produce Deadly Class?
No, probably not. Well, I mean, you know, they're just going to take that idea and make it, you know,
the New Mutants.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see that sort of now an end of that era of like, you know, we probably won't see too many exclusives. Although, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like the hot creators in comics now. Is Donnie Cates an exclusive with Marvel? I'm not sure. I think he might be, you know, but I don't know how long that lasts. I think it's a combination of things, but I just thought it was sort of an interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like, yeah, it just, it feels like the industry is going away from that for better or worse. Like and also, like Bendis doesn't seem, and I'm just saying this from someone who doesn't know him. I mean, he's not Jeff Johns. He's not going to become like the executive producer of some TV, like that doesn't seem to be like his passion.
He's done a lot of MCU work.
Yeah, but like it's not like he's gonna become like, like Johns is now like a producer.
Yeah, he's a producer.
Yeah, like he's like kind of does comics, but like is mostly like TV, movies, for better or worse, involved in that. And Bendis, strikes me as like he's
a writer,
comic book creator. He's like he.
Yeah, I want to see more power or torso or whatever.
That seems more his path. So I'm sure he'll make some cool stuff.
And I would respect that. All right. Well, I tell you what. I think that's about it. We've got some minor announcements. Sal, do we have any emails or any contact from anyone out there in the ether?
I don't think we have any emails this week. I did want to say I just wanted to give kind of a shout out to the creators of Mountainhead. They I had posted on Twitter that we had talked about that book, and they really enjoyed the episode. I know Ryan Lee said he thought it was the best. Where'd Tom go? He said it was the most concise, or not the most concise. What did he say? It was the most extensive and spot on review he's listened to about Mountainhead. He really loved. I'm assuming Tom said this was Northern Exposure gone bad. Did you say that, Tom? Or?
No, that was Chris.
I did say that.
Oh, well, there you go. They really enjoyed
put it on the jacket.
So just wanted to say thanks to those guys for retweeting the episode. And yeah, I told them, it's like, hey, keep making good comics. We'll talk about them. That's pretty.
That was awesome.
Yeah, but. Yeah, no, we didn't get any emails. Nobody sent us any emails. I don't know.
Send us emails, God damn it.
Send us emails. As always, you can get bonus content, patreon.com/aroundcomics.
Yeah.
We're putting all sorts of good stuff on there. We just put up WandaVision After Hours episode 3.
There's going to be some Tom versus.
The WandaVision episodes are awesome.
I had so much.
I love them.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun on that last one, especially. You're working on some Tom versus Tom?
Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to record one this weekend.
Awesome. I know people are looking forward to that.
Now that I can turn my focus away from professional football directly towards my passion, my true passion.
Oh, there's another game left.
Which is, writing the backs of other creators.
I think I am going to have a rock and roll god on one of our next episodes.
A rock and roll god.
Rock and roll god.
Like from the New Gods?
30 minutes. I'm going to spend 30 minutes with a rock and roll god.
Rock and roll god. All right. That sounds like fun. I will continue to do future stacks. I'm having fun with that. And I am working on my other thing that I'm going to do, which is going to be called, I think, Drawn and Quartered, or maybe Drawn and Quarterly, because I may do it quarterly.
That might be trademarked.
Drawn and Quarterly?
Yeah.
I could do it in a Patreon.
I think Drawn and Quartered.
Drawn and Quartered?
Yeah, Drawn and Quartered. I like that.
Yeah, hopefully it's going to be fun. It's going to be me doing like drawing contests with professional artists who are going to blow me away, but whatever. I'm just going to have fun talking to them. So, yeah. So I got a bunch of guys lined up for that soon.
Aroundcomics.com/ it's patreon.com/aroundcomics.
Patreon.com/aroundcomics. Please, if you'd like to help us out, please support the show. We really appreciate it. We appreciate all the patrons that have signed up already. And and I know, Chris, you had mentioned this on the last episode, but I wanted to tell people to one of the things is, we came back after quite a layoff, and I think a lot of people out there don't even realize that we're doing shows again on a regular basis. So if you are listening to this, please share it on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or wherever the hell you go on social media. We would really appreciate it if you would do that. Share the episodes if you've enjoyed them. We want to get as many people listening as possible, and I think like I said, a lot of people don't even know that we're doing shows again. But yeah, so as always, Tuesday nights we do the live stream on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You can listen to the show on iTunes on Wednesdays, New Comic Book Day, and then all the bonus stuff on Patreon. So contact us at info@aroundcomics.
There you go. Great. Awesome. Fun.
That
Tom, are you going to shave the beard anytime soon?
No.
No intention.
No reason.
No. Why do it? What's the point?
Why do it?
Yeah, he's home. He's creative. He's a wacky creative now.
It's gonna grow this. It's
It is the bushiest beard I've ever seen on you.
It's very,
Speaking of bushy beards, I texted Sal about this. Playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, 5 hours in to get to the fucking title screen.
Yes, it is. Dude, 5
hours.
I somehow racked up like 90 hours of Cyberpunk in like over the holidays. Which I'm sad about. And then I stopped playing. I haven't played it in weeks. I've not picked up a video game in weeks.
You're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly.
I enjoy video games, but I've said this before. It's like the one time where I feel like I can truly feel death creeping up on me. Like I only have so much time. And then you're confronted with like, you spent 90 hours doing this, and I'm like, holy shit! Like,
I'm gonna be 50, dude. I don't have much. 90 hours.
That's so much of your time.
Quarter of my life left.
Yeah. You're like, oh my god, there's like stuff I want to There's stuff I want to do.
I could have written a fucking novel.
I just spent 90 hours doing that. Yeah,
I looked at my wife. I'm like, this is going to be like a 120-hour game. And she looked at me. She's like, do you want to do that to yourself?
Yeah. The specter of death looming behind you, just like.
Yep.
All right. So I'll be playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla and reading comics. And in the meantime.
In between time.
We'll be everywhere. In
and
around
comics. Whoa.
Comics.